Hello everyone and welcome to my 2018 Formula 1 driver lineup predictions. Bit of a mouthful, but here we are. Here are my predictions of the drivers who will be racing for who in 2018. Starting off with the world champions Mercedes, I can't see there being much change, to be honest. I think it'll be Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton's got a contract already. Bottas, he is only on a one-year deal, so there is potential for him to not be with the team next year. But I think his pace so far, and what he's achieved already with the team, I think he's fairly cemented to get another drive. I think Toto Wolff even said a couple of weeks ago that he's most likely going to be with the team next year. So I don't really see there being much change. They're leading the Constructors' Championship, and he's been a very good replacement to Nico Rosberg. So I think it'll be Hamilton and Bottas at Mercedes in 2018. Red Bull Racing are next, and again, no change. I think it'll be Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. Ricciardo has got a shorter contract than Verstappen, but they're both tied in for at least another couple of years. So again, I can't really see there being much change. I think Ricciardo will give Red Bull one more year to give him a championship winning car before looking elsewhere. So yeah, I think they'll both stay. Verstappen's father, Jos Verstappen, has already came out and said in Austria that they will be with Red Bull next year. And yeah, I can't see them changing their lineup just for the sake of changing it. So I think it'll be Ricciardo and Verstappen at Red Bull as well in 2018. Go to Ferrari, and this is where we're going to get our first big shake-up with one in and one out, and that is with Sebastian Vettel staying with the team for 2018. The car's been a very big step forward. They're fighting for the championship. Ferrari are back to winning ways, and Ferrari, I think, are really just going to get better and better now. They can build on this year, whatever happens in the second half of the season, and I think they'll be able to fight for championships for the next couple of years. So I think Vettel will stay. I do not think Raikkonen will, though. I think Kimi Raikkonen is going to be either step aside or be made to step aside at the end of the season. And the man that I've tipped to take his seat is the youngster Charles Leclerc, the current Formula 2 Championship leader. What an exciting young talent this kid is. Honestly, this is someone who will most likely win a world championship in the future. I would tip him as a future world champion. He's on the verge of becoming the F2 champion. He'll be the first man in history to have won the GP3 and the F2 titles back to back. And he's so quick. He's got the record. He took Stoffel Vandoorne's record for consecutive pole positions in F2 or GP2. The record was 5. He's made that 6. I'd again put money on him getting pole in Hungary this weekend. But yeah, when this video comes out, you'll already know if he's got pole. But that's beside the point. So yeah, I think Charles Leclerc will get that C. He'll definitely be on the grid next year. He might not be with Ferrari, but I would 100% expect him to be on the grid next year. And he's a very exciting prospect for Ferrari. And blimey, if he was in that Ferrari next year, very good chance that he could become the first man to win GP3, F2 and F1 all back to back to back. Stranger things have happened. So Vettel and Leclerc at Ferrari. Force India, I've got that down as no change. Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon for another year. I know Perez wants to look around and hopefully try and maybe get that Ferrari seat. I think he'll miss out, but Force India are a team which are just getting better and better, and it will not be long before they are fighting for wins and podiums every weekend, and maybe even world championships in the future. If Ocon stays with the team long enough, then it's always a possibility. So I don't think they want to change their lineup. I don't think it will change. Perez and Ocon to stay with Force India. Next up is Williams, and this is where some of the pieces of the jigsaw start to come together. It's one in and one out again. Lance Stroll's going to stay with the team. He's got a contract. He brings money into the team, and his performances have really improved the last 3 or 4 races, especially with that podium in Baku. So I think he's had enough progression already in this first half of the year for Williams to keep him for next year. But the man who I think is going to be with him next year will be Pascal Wehrlein. He's sort of fallen out with the guys at Sauber. He's fallen out with his teammate. The owners don't like him being better than Marcus Ericsson. So I don't think he has a future at Sauber. There aren't many other places for him to go. I think Mercedes will try and slot him in at Williams. I think it's a good choice. I think it's a good fit. And Wehrlein can really show what he can do in a proper midfield car. He's been at the back. now he gets to get a chance in the midfield, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to capture a couple of podiums. I really rate Pascal Wehrlein. I think Mercedes heavily underrate him, to be honest, because I'd have put him in the Merc this year. But that'd be a really exciting pairing, two very young drivers with great futures ahead of them. So Stroll and Wehrlein at Williams. At Toro Rosso, it's one in and one out again. I think Carlos Sainz is going to stay. He's been moaning that he wants to leave Toro Rosso. I don't think there's really anywhere for him to go apart from Renault. It's very touching. They're very even Stevens. Might be a wise move. I think he will end up staying at Red Bull. He does have a contract at Red Bull, and they won't want to lose him in case they lose Ricciardo or Verstappen at the end of next year. So I think that he will stay for 2018. However, though, Daniil Kvyat, I really like Daniil Kvyat. I think he's a very talented young driver. But things just haven't gone his way. It just hasn't worked out for him, sadly. And ever since he was dumped back down at Toro Rosso, while Sainz has been scoring some big results, Kvyat's been remembered for having some big crashes. And it's the point of the year where patience is wearing a bit quite thin, and with Pierre Gasly's stunning performance in New York City in the Formula E, I think he will probably lose his seat to Pierre Gasly. So I think Gasly's destined to be in that drive next year. If Sainz does leave, then I think Kvyat will stay. But I'm certain that Gasly will be in the car next year. It's all about whether Sainz stays or not, because I think Kvyat is pretty much he's on borrowed time at the moment. And I think that he'll probably lose his seat for next year. Haas is fairly short and sweet, because they announced about a week ago that they're keeping the same two drivers of Grosjean and Magnussen. A bit surprised, because I thought that Ferrari had really used Haas as a proper B team like Toro Rosso, but they haven't. So we'll have to see. Maybe they will promote Romain Grosjean to Ferrari. That's always a possibility, and then that frees up a space at Haas for a Giovinazzi or a Leclerc. So that's always a possibility, but by the sounds of it, it's going to be Grosjean and Magnussen at Haas for next year. Now to Renault, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. One in, one out. It's pretty obvious who the one who is staying, and that's going to be Nico Hulkenberg. He's got a contract, and he's been on top form this year. Hulkenberg's having probably one of his best seasons, I'd say. And he's not scoring really big results, but I mean his performance at Silverstone was brilliant. It was astonishing. It was the Nico Hulkenberg that we all know and love. It was a great result for him, and he's really showing his stuff in that Renault. I do think Jolyon Palmer will lose his seat. He's another driver who's on borrowed time. Hasn't scored any points this year. People are just remembering the mistakes and the crashes, and the pace compared to Hulkenberg is not good enough. He's I think it's on average 0.6 of a second slower than his teammate. The gap's too big, and it's costing Renault vital constructors points. So if there's a chance that he might lose his seat mid-season, I don't think he will. I think he'll probably get away with it, to be honest. But I think he'll lose it at the end of the season. But who will replace him? Could it be Carlos Sainz? Could it be Esteban Ocon? Could it be Fernando Alonso? No, I don't think it's going to be any of them. I think the man who it's going to be, and we all hope it's going to be, is Robert Kubica, the Pole, making his comeback after nearly losing his right arm in the pre-season of 2011. Is on the verge of making a comeback to the sport. He's testing for Renault at the post-Hungarian Grand Prix test, so we will watch his times. There'll be a lot of eyes on those times to see how well he does, and it'd be great to see Robert Kubica back on the grid next year. So yeah, I'm gonna put it out there because we all love a good comeback story. Robert Kubica to partner Nico Hulkenberg at Renault in 2018. To the penultimate team now, which is McLaren. McLaren. Where do you start with McLaren Honda? It's just been a few years of absolute turmoil for the team. And it's a shame because at the moment they've got two very, very good drivers, and I think the same two drivers will be there next year, Stoffel Vandoorne and Fernando Alonso. I know Fernando wants to leave the team if they keep Fernando Alonso does want to leave if they keep the Honda engine, but they have shown signs of improvement the last few races, and if they keep that steady rate of progression that they have had since the start of the season, especially the last few races, if they aren't able to get another engine for 2018, they might just be able to convince him to stay. His only other options are really Renault and Williams. So that's if he wants to stay in Formula 1. So Vandoorne's already been confirmed by Zach Brown for next year, and I think Alonso will be there to partner him as well. And finally, Sauber. Marcus Ericsson is a shoo-in because his backers are the owners of Sauber, so he will stay at the team next year as well because of all the problems with Pascal Wehrlein. We've already placed him at Williams, so that frees up a little bit of breathing room for two guys possibly. The first is Noriharu Matsushita. He is a Honda young driver in F2. I don't think he's ready for Formula 1 though. He's very much a midfielder in F2. And I think he really would struggle if he was thrown in the deep end in a Formula 1 car for 2018. So the man that I think will get the drive is Antonio Giovinazzi. Currently their reserve driver, has raced for them twice this season already. Very good, very talented young driver. I know the team know him, he knows the team. If they do stick with a Ferrari engine, there's the Ferrari link, and it works for Ferrari to get both Leclerc and Giovinazzi onto the grid for 2018. So Antonio Giovinazzi to Sauber is my prediction. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. There'll be most likely not a video tomorrow, but you never know. I will be on holiday in Spain, so there's a very good chance that it won't happen, but never say never. If there isn't one tomorrow, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Also, in the comment section, drop down your 2018 predictions, and I'll see you in the next video. So until then, I'll see you around. Goodbye.